Good morning. Good morning, y'all. Thought I would go live. I just did a great interview on leadership, and now my head is just swirling with thoughts about leadership, which is one of the topics that I love discussing. And so hope y'all had a great weekend. We are actually live for the first time in May, and wanted to talk to you just quickly about leadership. What you think it is, what does it look like? What does great leadership look like? Let me get over here to the chat before I give you my thoughts. What does great leadership look like? One word for great leadership. What does it look like? What does it look like? What does great leadership look like? I want to know. I want to know what you think. What does it look like? What does great leadership look like? In the chat. We are live on Facebook and LinkedIn and YouTube and maybe a couple of other places. And we're only going to be here for a few minutes. So if you've got thoughts about what great leadership is, then I want you to pipe in and let me hear what you think it is. And I also want to give a shout out to someone who just interviewed me on LinkedIn. Let me make sure I'm pronouncing his last name properly. Yeah, it is Quinn. Pierre Quinn, thank you so much for the interview today, my brother, on LinkedIn and wherever else we were broadcast. But you stirred up something in me, Pierre, on this topic of leadership, which is one of my, as I said earlier, one of my favorite topics of all times. I love talking about leadership. And the question I'm posing to those of you with me today is, what does great leadership look like? What are the habits of great leaders? What do you think are the habits of great leaders? Have you ever worked with a great leader? Have you ever been a great leader? Are you a great leader? What are the habits of great leaders? I have my thoughts. Y'all know I do, but I'm very interested in hearing your thoughts on great leadership, because I think what our country is missing in a lot of nooks and crannies is great leadership. Lots of people have jobs. Lots of people are thinking they're in charge, but not many folks I've experienced are actually great leaders. And so we've got a lot of churches, amen, companies, athletic departments, families, schools being run by people who are not great leaders, but they are in the position of leading. So what are your thoughts about that? What are your thoughts? What does great leadership look like? I don't want to know about the qualities. I want to know about the habits of great leaders in your experience. What do they look like? Okay, so I'm going to jump in on mine. I got 3 things to say real quickly about great leadership. What does great leadership look like? Great leaders do their work. I'm going to have to take off the glasses for that. Great leaders do their work. And I guarantee you, if we were to talk about leadership and we're in a room together workshopping this topic, and I said, let's put all the leaders we've ever worked with, worked for, whatever you want to say, been on the team with, been in churches with, been whatever. I guarantee you, with just this one qualifier from my standpoint, half of them would be gone. Great leaders do their work. Now, the work I'm talking about is not the daily busyness, the busyness of daily work. I'm talking about your inner work. I'm talking about looking at your stuff. I'm talking about looking in the mirror. I'm talking about understanding your limitations, understanding the chinks in your armor, and working on your stuff. I guarantee you, if we were in the room together, over half of the people would get off the list of great leadership. And in my experience, most leaders do not work on their stuff. Most leaders want to tell everybody else how to be, how to work, how to do, and they have not done any work on themselves. None. That's why that's at the top of my list, because nothing will destroy a team, a department, a staff than having a leader at the helm who has not worked on their stuff, who is not actively working on your stuff. Because When you do your work, you're always doing your work. You're always finding out things. You're always becoming more aware of who you are. Most leaders do not do their work. And when you don't do your work, there goes the climate, there goes the culture, and ultimately there go your results. Ultimately, the fact that you haven't done your work as a leader will catch up with you. It always does. So habit number one for me, for great leadership, is a leader who has done their work. And you find this out early. I mean, you can't find this out in the interview process, but you find it out on day 3 when you're working with somebody. You find it out. Because the moment it comes time to be accountable, that leader, that person who thinks they're in charge, is looking to blame somebody else. Right? So you will find out very early whether you're talking about a personal relationship, a professional relationship, or a business relationship. You will find out very early who is doing their work. And if you find yourself today working for, whatever you want to call it, a leader who is not doing their work daily, look out. It's about to be a tumultuous, toxic environment. You gotta do your work. Those of you watching, aspiring to be great leaders, the first thing you've got to do is to look at yourself and do your work. Commit to a lifetime of doing your work. It ain't easy, but it is rewarding. It is rewarding. All right, so number one, habits of great leaders. They do their work. And these are, by the way, I'm going to say it again because I've said in all domains. At home, if you got wives and husbands and spouses and kids, people are not owning their stuff. They're not doing their work. Bad environment, bad culture, always. No exceptions to that rule. Never an exception to that rule. All right, I went to preaching on that one. Number two, they put the team first. They put the team first. Definitely not easy always to do. I've been leaders in every area of my life. Procter & Gamble, my own company, my teams I played on, always in a leadership position because I welcome that. That's a part of my divine assignment. So part of what you have to do when you are a great leader is to make sure that even when things may not be in your favor, even when you don't get to come out smelling like a rose all the time, you are putting the team first. You're putting the family first. You're putting the mission first. You're putting the revolution first. Okay, these are little check boxes. Those of you following bad leaders, are they doing their work? Are they putting the team first? Or is every decision that they make about them? These are very distinct and undisputed notions about leadership. These things are never off. Great leaders will put their teams first. They will put their staffs first. They will put their family first. They will know what to prioritize. They will know when they should be a priority. They will know when the team or the family or the department or the organization should be first. They have done enough work, goes back to number one. They've done enough work on themselves to understand, listen, am I being selfish here? Or what should I do in this situation? Their discernment about what is priority is often right on point. Why? Because of number one, because they've done their work and because they are putting the team first. So number one, great leaders do their work. Number two, great leaders understand that the team, what's best for us, what's best for the relationship, what's best for the family, what's best for the team, what's best for the department, what's best for the organization, what's best for the company has to be a priority. But what you find in bad leadership is that they are self-serving. Bad leaders are always self-serving. Everything is about ultimately coming back to their narcissistic desires. If you find yourself working with or for a leader where everything is about them, put your seatbelt on or leave. It's about to be, I'm going to use the T word again, it's about to be tumultuous and it's about to be toxic. This is never not the case, by the way. Been at this a long time. Been a leader a long time. Worked with people in various capacities. And these truths are undisputed. All right. Number 3. Can't see this. Number 3, they know when they need glasses. All right, here we go. Oh, yes. Number 3, they embody the core values. All right. So what you'll find when you go work with people, you're on a team, you're in an organization, they will tell you what the core values are. And those core values will sound very good on day 1. Oh, we're about transparency. We're about the kids first. We're about the organization first. We're about honesty and trusting and whatever those core values are that we all hear about. Great leaders don't just tell you at the staff meeting what the core values are. They embody those core values. They are those core values. They are walking examples of those core values. And if they are not, put your seatbelt on. It's about to be what? Tumultuous and toxic. That's the way it is. All right. So when you're looking at deciding on business partnerships, relationships, personal relationships, everybody tells you what they aspire to be. This is who I am or whatever. But you got to look at what you are seeing. I don't want to hear you telling me what you value. I want to see what you value. I want to see it in your decision making. I want to see it in your interaction with me. I want to see accountability. I want to see that this team matters. I want to see that you're honest. Y'all are falling for people who call themselves leaders who do not even embody the very core principles that they stand behind a mic and tell you about. They sit behind a big desk. They sit in a very big chair. But they don't even embody the lowest level of those core values. Stop believing and following people who are telling you one thing and doing something else. Or here's a good one. They stand at the press conference and they tell you, they say, this is what we are about. But as soon as that press conference is over, you get back to the office or you get back to the house and you're seeing a different embodiment of different values. Stop falling for people who are lying to you about what they want in a relationship with you, about what they want in a partnership with you, about what they are going to espouse when you come to work for them. Because on day 1, definitely by day 3, you are going to see who these people are. Great leadership is a sight to behold. Great leadership is when you experience great leadership, you will be talking about it for the rest of your life. You will be talking about it for the rest of your life. And there are always these 3 things I talked about this morning. These 3 things never fail. If you want a litmus test for whether you are in a relationship with a great leader, right? If you're in a job situation, a professional situation, a business partnership with a great leader, the 3 things that you should be looking at are, have they done their work? Do you get any sense that they've done any personal work? Been in counseling, been to a therapist, any of those? Because you see, it's impossible to do your work without some kind of help, right? Those people who are going to throw God at me, okay, that's fine. But you need to be challenged by someone professionally who can say, you might want to think about it this way. You might want to look at this. You might be projecting your stuff onto this situation. And so if you're afraid of therapy, if you're afraid of counseling, if you got some social construct about any of those things, good luck with people who are in relationships with you. Because the work is critical. The ongoing work on you is critical. So you want a quick litmus test for whether somebody's done their work. Ask somebody to share with you a time when something didn't go the way, it thought it was, a disappointment they have. Watch who they blame. Listen for who they are blaming for when things don't go well in their life, with decisions that they made, but somehow it was somebody else's fault. Great litmus test for whether people are actively about the work of doing their work. I don't want no parts of people who don't do work. Been there, done it, glad it's over. Do your work. Some of y'all are great philosophers on Facebook and social, but you're not doing any personal work. Y'all are retweeting all these philosophers out there, but you personally are not doing any work. You personally are a terrorist at home and at the job. Don't hitch your wagon to people who don't do their work. Okay, that's number one. Number two, just a recap. Great leaders put their teams first. Great leaders put the organization first. Great leaders don't lead with their personal agenda. We've seen that at the highest level in our country. I don't have to call names, but y'all know who I'm talking about. You've seen it in churches. You've seen it at your work. You've seen it at home. You know when people are putting themselves before everybody else. Don't ignore that. When you see that, make a decision, because if you stay in that business, personal, professional relationship, it's going to be what? Tumultuous and toxic, guaranteed. Watch who people put first. Not to be confused with people who are always doing, they're always doing, they don't know how to take care of themselves. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about people who put their personal agenda above what is best for my family, for the team, for the organization, for the department. Okay, those are the people that you need to watch out for. Those are the people who are telling you that they are in charge and they're leaders, but they're not. All right, number three, look for people who embody. I could be on Facebook all day. I post a lot. You guys know I do, about all this and all that. But am I embodying those traits? The people who know me know that I'm not just posting stuff. I embody these qualities. I embody these habits. Not perfect, not always on point, but I'm embracing that too, because I'm doing the work. Great leaders do their work, and they embody the principles that they post about. I'm not the person who originated the thing that goes around the internet that says, practice what you post, but I certainly post that at least once a year. I will repost whoever originally put that out there. Practice what you post. Embody the values that you want to see in your team, in your family, in your department. And if the leaders that you are following, if the people who are hiring you are not embodying the things that they talk about in the press conference, if they're not embodying the things that they talk about when they're talking to whomever, as Whoopi Goldberg said in the movie Ghost, Molly, you in trouble, girl. I'm just telling you, watch your leaders. Hold your leaders accountable. But most importantly, everybody has the opportunity, the ability to be a great leader. But you're not ever going to be a great leader if you're not willing to do your work, right? Put others before you when appropriate. And number three, embody the values, the core values, the vision. That's all I got. That's all I got. Let me check this chat. Let me check this chat real quick and tell you that every day we make these choices, we make these options to be great leaders, to actually follow people online. And we have these experiences with people who claim that they are leaders and they are not. Well, they're leaders. They're just doing bad. They're just bad leaders. These three things right here, don't ignore them. Do not ignore people who are displaying the things that I talked about today. All right, so I'm out of here. Hope you have a great Monday. Thanks for hanging with me for a few minutes, or if you're watching this in replay. And I'll try to go live a little bit more. Been kind of busy with some other stuff, but I'll try to go live a little bit more because I know that I love hearing from you guys. I love seeing the things that you post. I love being inspired by what I see when I do my quick scroll in the morning and then my scroll at night. You're doing some great stuff, great work. Keep doing what you're doing. But most importantly, tap into that great leadership ability that you have and don't just talk about it. Be about it. Have a great day, y'all.